Hello friends, welcome to the part 1 of Knowledge Compile channel. Friends, today we'll discuss about the General Giap, politician and strategist. So let's begin the topic. In the first part of the General Giap, we'll discuss about its life and the political evolution of Nguyen Giap from early influences to the communist ascendancy in Vietnam. Right? So friends, let's start with the General Giap background first. Friends, under the background, the first we'll discuss about the early life and imprisonment. Friends, Nguyen Giap was born in 1912 in central Annam, specifically in the village of Angza, Quang province near the 17th parallel, and he spent his early years in Hue Dong Hoi area until 1930 when he was imprisoned by the French. Friends, despite his father's respected scholarly background, Giap family lived in poverty and his father was involved in an uprising against French rule in North Annam and Tonkin between 1885 and 1888, led by Emperor Ham Negi, with key leaders including Ton That Tuet and Phan Van Dong. Friends, local scholars play a significant role in transforming the uprising into a national movement, illustrating the broader context in which Giap's early life unfolded. Moving next we'll discuss about the role of Catholics in the political landscape. Friends, during the period of political upheaval, the role of Catholic in central Annam was notable. French officers recognized rebel leaders like Letro in Kunming and Hanoi province, acknowledging their integrity and patriotism. Meanwhile, friends, the small Catholic population played a significant part in the capture of Hamnigi by revealing rebel hideouts, providing information to French soldiers, and offering labor. And despite their effort, Catholics faced persecution by Emperor Ming Mang and harassment by rebels. And their collaboration with French, although instrumental in certain instances, was viewed unfavorably within the broader political context. Next, in addition, role of Catholic, that is third point, is about influence of Nguyen Giap. Friends, Nguyen Giap upbringing was shaped by an environment that viewed Vietnamese Catholic as traitors, influencing his perspective on collaboration and loyalty. And from his father, Giap learned the significance of intellectual content in shaping a national political movement. And their aim was to channel peasant grievances against oppressive rule, emphasizing the importance of grassroots support and intellectual leadership in effecting changes. And these early influences laid the groundwork for Giap's later role as a military strategist and leader in Vietnam's struggle for independence. Moving next about the rise of nationalist movement. Friends, after the death of Phan Van Dong in 1895, the nationalist movement faced a downturn. However, in 1905, Phang Boi Chau revived opposition to the French colonial rule. He fled to Japan alongside Prince Quang Day with the shared goal of achieving independence for Vietnam. And this resurgence marked a pivotal movement in Vietnam's struggle against foreign domination, demonstrating the resilience and determination of nationalist leaders to pursue the cause of sovereignty and self-determination. Next, about the third point about the inspiration from Japan. Friends, the victory of Japan over Russia in 1905 served as a powerful inspiration for Vietnamese nationalists. They saw Japan's success as evidence that an Asian nation could stand up to Western powers. And this victory fueled their aspiration to modernize Vietnam, believing that Western education was key to achieving their goal. Next point about the conflict over education. Friends, the vision of modernization through Western education sparked conflict over traditional Confucian education in Vietnam during the early 20th century. Traditionalists clung to Confucian values and educational practices, viewing Western influence as a threat to Vietnamese culture and identity. Meanwhile, modernizers advocated for the adoption of Western educational method to propel Vietnam into the modern era. And this clash of ideologies reflected broader debates within Vietnamese society about the direction of culture and educational reform. Next, about the demand for the modern education. Friends, despite French suppression, there was a rising demand of modern education among the Vietnamese populace. Recognizing the importance of education as a tool for advancement and empowerment, people sought access to knowledge beyond traditional teachings. And in response to this demand, Franco Vietnamese schools were established. And these institutions aimed to blend Western education methods with Vietnamese culture values, providing students with a pathway to modernize while so preserving elements of their heritage. And the establishment of such schools marked a significant step forward in addressing the educational aspiration of the Vietnamese people amidst the challenges posed by colonial rule. Next, about the reopening of University of Hanoi. Friends, to address the growing demand for modern education, the University of Hanoi was reopened in 1918. And this decision reflected a recognition of the importance of higher education in meeting the evolving need of Vietnamese society. And by reopening the university, authorities aimed to provide opportunities for advanced learning and intellectual development, signaling a commitment to fostering educational advancement despite the challenges posed by the colonial rule. And the reopening of University of Hanoi represented a significant milestone in Vietnam educational history, symbolizing a renewed effort to empower future generation through knowledge and learning. Moving next. Next we'll learn about the Franco-Vietnamese relation, that is from 1912 to 1944. Friends, during the period from 1912 to 1944, Vietnamese society experienced collaboration with the French authorities, driven by various motives. Some saw collaboration as a strategic means to work toward independence, while others sought to alleviate the hardship of daily life under colonial rule. And this collaboration took different forms, ranging from cooperation in governance structure to participate in economic activities. And despite instances of collaboration, there was occasional revolt against French rule during this period. Friends, some Vietnamese individuals participated in revolt by joining the French army during the World War I and World War II. And this revolt reflected underlying tensions and grievances within Vietnamese society, as well as the complex dynamics of resistance and accommodation in the face of colonial domination. Friends, during the period of 1912 to 1944 in Vietnam, many people choose to collaborate with the French rulers or remained indifferent to political matters. And this attitude was widespread. No Din Kha, who organized private schools, played a role in Nguyen Giap education despite this climate of collaboration. Friends, Giap later attended the Lycée National in Hue, a school also attended by notable figures like Ho Chi Minh and Ngo Dinh Diem. And despite the prevalent collaboration and indifferences, individuals like Kha provided opportunities for learning and growth, influencing Giap development as a key figure in Vietnamese history. Next, about the emergence of political movement. Friends, in mid 1920s, Vietnamese saw the rise of new party and movement with the goal of attaining national independence. And among these, the Constitutional Party, established in 1917 with French support in Cochin, China, sought moderate reforms. However, it encountered significant resistance from the French, leading to internal division within the party. And despite these challenges, the emergence of such political entities marked a pivotal movement in Vietnam's journey towards self-determination and political empowerment. Friends, in mid 1920s, Vietnam experienced the emergence of new political organization aimed at achieving national independence. And one such group was Tan Viet Revolutionary Association, which secretly formed in 1924 in Annam before expanding its influence to Tonkin. Friends, it comprised of young professionals and educators. The association attracted support through its advocacy against the monarchy and promotion of education. However, despite its notable objectives, the association lacked a clear strategy for achieving independence, resulting in internal divisions and the formation of splinter groups. Nonetheless, the rise of organizations like Tan Viet Revolutionary Association reflected the growing fervor of independence among Vietnam youth and intellectuals during this period. Next, about the betrayal and political turmoil. Friends, in 1925, a significant betrayal occurred when Ho Chi Minh orchestrated the betrayal of Phang Boi Chau, in prominent nationalist leader, to the French authorities. And this act of treachery shook the nationalist movement and highlighted the complex political landscape of the time. Additionally, the death of Phan Chau Trinh in 1926 further fueled the discontent among the Vietnamese populace, exacerbating political turmoil and deepening divisions within the nationalist movement. And these events underscored the challenges faced by Vietnamese leaders in their struggle for independence and highlighted the treacherous nature of political alliance during this tumultuous period. Next, friends, during the 1920s, the opposition to French rule in the Vietnam grew stronger. The Tan Viet movement, which organized student protest, gained popularity as more people opposed the French. Nguyen Giap became politically aware during the students' strike in 1925-26, and these strikes inspired him to get involved in politics and later became a leader in Vietnam fight for independence. Moving next. Next, we'll discuss about the Giap involvement in political activism. Friends, Nguyen Giap faced expulsion from school for taking part in the Quit School movement, which protested against the French colonial education policies. And even after returning to his village due to expulsion, Giap continued to be involved in the secret nationalist activities, demonstrating his commitment to the cause of Vietnamese independence. Friends, Nguyen Giap was persuaded by a friend to join the Tan Viet movement, which he later aligned himself with its communist oriented faction. Intrigued by the communist ideas, Giap secretly studied communist literature to deepen his understanding. Eventually, Giap was called back to Hue by the Tan Viet leadership to engage in underground activities for the party, further committing himself to the cause of Vietnamese independence through covert actions. Moving next in the rise of political movement, first point is about the founding of Thania. Friends, in 1925, Ho Chi Minh found Thania, attracting numerous bright young men from Tonkin who faced repression against the French rule. The organization established a central committee in Canton and disseminated propaganda throughout Vietnam, playing a crucial role in fostering nationalist sentiment and resistance against colonial oppression. And during the period of political discontent in Vietnam, Thania gained widespread popularity. It attracted support from individuals disillusioned with the moderate policies of other nationalist parties, becoming a beacon for those seeking more radical approaches to challenging French colonial rule. Friends, the National Party of Vietnam, VNQDD, emerged in Hanoi in 1927, posing a significant challenge to Thanh Nhan dominance. And this emergence came especially after the arrest of Phang Boi Chau, which nationalists blamed on Ho Chi Minh, further intensifying the rivalry between different nationalist fractions and contributing to the fracturing of the independence movement. Next, about the friction and the tarnished reputation. Friends, tension between Thania and VNQDD escalated, leading to the friction within the nationalist movement. Additionally, friends, communist funding shortage prompted desperate measures, resulting in robbery attempts that tarnished their reputation and attracted harsh colonial reprisals. And these internal conflicts and criminal activities weakened the unity and credibility of independence movement, posing significant challenges to its goal. Next, about the internal rift and the communist movement. Friends, internal division within the communist movement worsened following the cessation of Borodin's activity and Ho Chi Minh returned to the Soviet Union. And this led to the splintering of the movement into the multiple communist groups in the Vietnam, resulting in infighting and extensive arrest by the French police. Friends, these internal rifts weaken the cohesion and effectiveness of the communist movement, hampering its ability to resist colonial repression and pursue its goal of national liberation. Next, about the consolidation of communist movement. First is about the formation of the Vietnamese Communist Party. Friends, Ho Chi Minh tirelessly effort to unite the fragmented communist movement in Vietnam culminated in the formation of the Vietnamese Communist Party. And this significant event took place during a conference held in Hong Kong in 1930. Subsequently, the party expanded its scope and influence to encompass the broader region, evolving into the Indochina Communist Party. And this milestone marked a pivotal movement in Vietnam revolutionary history, laying the groundwork for the Communist Party's central role in the country's struggle for independence and social transformation. Next, about the preparation and launch of rebellion. Friends, following the discovery of VNQDD secret activities, preparation for the national uprising began, and these efforts culminated in the launch of the rebellion on Feb 10, 1930. And this coordinated action marked a significant escalation in resistance against the colonial rule, demonstrating the determination of the nationalist force to challenge oppression and pursue the goal of independence. Moving next. Next is about the fragmented rebellion and the French response. Friends, despite a change in the uprising start date to the February 15, miscommunication and disorganization led to a fragmented rebellion. This lack of coordination among the nationalist forces resulted in a weakened resistance effort. Consequently, the rebellion was swiftly and decisively crushed by the French forces, highlighting the challenges faced by the Vietnamese revolutionaries in their struggle against the colonial oppression. Friends, in the outcome and aftermath, following the suppression of the rebellion, many leaders of VNQDD were captured and executed by the French authorities. The survivors fled to China where they remained in a state of disorganization and exile under 1945. And this defeat dealt a significant blow to the nationalist movement, illustrating the harsh consequences of the resistance against the colonial rule and the challenges of maintaining cohesion and momentum in the face of overwhelming repression. Next, friends, next about the academic pursuit and the political engagement. First is about, in this, friends, Giap pursued further education at the University of Hanoi, focusing on law and political economy. Concurrently, he actively participated in political activities, contributing articles to the newspapers and the periodicals to advocate for the communist ideology. And this dual commitment to education and political engagement laid the foundation for Giap's future leadership role in Vietnam revolutionary movement. Under the contribution to the newspaper, friends, Giap made the significant contributions to the several newspapers including Ting Tuk and Thoi The, where he shared his perspective on political and social issues. Additionally, friends, he contributed to the French language publication such as Les Travaux and Notre Vieux, showcasing his versatility in reaching diverse audience and advocating for communist ideals across different linguistic and cultural contexts. Next, about the doctorate controversy. Friends, there is a controversy surrounding claims that Giap obtained a doctorate in the political economy, as this credential remains unverified despite being mentioned in some sources. Facing financial constraint, Giap took up a teaching position in history at Thang Long Private School in Hanoi. And despite this occupation, he continued to actively engage in political activities, demonstrating his unwavering commitment to the cause of Vietnamese independence and social changes. Next, about the establishing friendship. Friends, during this period, Giap forged meaningful friendship and prominent figures such as Pham Van Dong and Tron Chi. And these relationships not only provided mutual support but also strengthened the network of like minded individuals committed to advancing the goals of the communist movement in Vietnam. Next, about the relationship and the political experience. Friends, Giap developed a deep and enduring friendship with Pham Van Dong, a significant figure in the Vietnamese politics. And this close bond was founded on shared values and common goals, contributing to their collaboration in the communist movement and their subsequent roles in shaping Vietnam history. Truong Chi, another individual acquainted with Giap, underwent a tumultuous period during the 30s. While the specifics of the relationship are not detailed, Chin experience during this time likely influenced his later contribution to Vietnamese politics and society. Next, about the communist ascendancy in Vietnam. Friends, the collapse of VNQDD in Vietnam in 1930 resulted in an increase in the influence for the communists in Vietnam. And with the decline of the VNQDD, the Communist Party emerged as the more prominent force in the nationalist movement, shaping the political landscape of the country during this period. And in the south, Trotskyite parties posed a significant challenge to the communist strength, particularly in Cochin, China. And these parties, adhering to the ideas of Leon Trotsky, presented an ideological alternative to the Communist Party, complicating the political dynamics in the region and creating competition for influence among nationalist fractions. Next, about the political landscape in the 30s. Friends, during the 1930s in Vietnam, the Communist Party success was not solely due to the absence of the formidable rivals, but also stemmed from the strategic political maneuver. And by adeptly navigating the complex political landscape, the communists capitalized on opportunities to expand their influence and mobilize support among various segments of society. And these strategic maneuvers played a crucial role in consolidating the Communist Party power and advancing its agenda for national liberation and social transformation. Next, about the intellectual shift and the communist attraction. Friends, during this period, many Vietnamese intellectuals found themselves drawn to the communist cause as a result of Francophobia or resentment toward French colonial rule and disillusionment with capitalism. Friends, these sentiments were fueled by experience of exploitation and oppression under colonial domination as well as by the inequalities and injustices perpetuated by capitalist systems. In response, the ideals of communism, which advocated for social equality, liberation for imperialism, and the empowerment of the working class, resonated strongly with Vietnamese intellectuals seeking alternative to the status quo. Friends, the Communist Party demonstrated patience and foresight in its approach to the Giap education, recognizing the importance of education in nurturing future leaders and intellectuals. The party provided support and guidance to Giap as he pursued his studies. And this approach reflected the party's commitment to developing a cadre of educated and dedicated individuals capable of advancing the communist cause and leading Vietnam toward independence and the social progress. Next, about the communist strategy and appeal. Friends, in contrast to the Nationalist Party that primarily appealed to the educated elite, the communists pursued a strategy of mobilizing support from the lowest strata of society. Recognizing the potential strength of working class and peasantry, the communists sought to build a broad based movement that included the most marginalized and oppressed segment of Vietnamese society. And this approach reflected their commitment to the social justice and their belief in the revolutionary potential of masses in achieving national liberation and social transformation. Next, about the communist strategy and the political climate in the late 30s. Friends, the communists in the Vietnam, influenced by the Marxist ideology, recognized the pervasive influence of foreign capital in the Vietnamese economy. And this acknowledgement stemmed from the Marxist analysis of class struggle and imperialism, which highlighted the exploitation of colonized nation by foreign power for economic gains. Friends, by addressing economic grievances rooted in the domination of the Vietnamese economy by foreign interest, the communists aimed to mobilize support and rally the masses behind the revolutionary cause for national liberation and economic justice. Moving next. Next, we'll discuss about the geopolitical context and the Japanese threat. Friends, the Japanese offensive in southern China in November 1939 heightened concern about the potential Japanese aggression in Indochina. And this military campaign underscored the expansionist ambition of the Japanese Empire and raised fears among Vietnamese nationalists and the colonial authorities alike about the possibility of Japanese encroachment into neighboring territories, including French Indochina. Friends, the escalation of hostilities in southern China contributed to a heightened sense of insecurity and instability in the region, prompting heightened vigilance and strategic planning among concerned parties. Next, about the flight from the Hanoi and escape to Yunnan. Friends, on May 4, 1940, Nguyen Giap and Pham Van Dong left Hanoi for their journey. Embarking on their journey together, Giap and Pham Van Dong traveled to Lao Kay, the border station serving as a transit point on the route to Kunming and Ho Chi Minh. And this journey marked a significant step in their effort to navigate through the region and establish connection with other revolutionary forces. Friends, here we come to the end of part 1. Please do like, subscribe and share among your friends, and stay tuned for the part 2 on General Giap. Thank you and stay tuned.